Hey guys and dolls, today I'm starting a little mini series here on silver eyes and red lips. It's a classic combination. It's always in ad campaigns, it's always in magazines, and that's because when it's done right, it adds this sophisticated glamour that is so chic, so beautiful. You feel like $1,000,000 if it's done right. Like, I feel delicious, and I just went and showed this to my husband and he was like, yeah, you're hot. With all of that said, it's also one of those looks, there's a fine line between hot and hot mess. It's one of those looks that, you know, if you don't practice some restraint, you're gonna kind of end up looking tacky and not in that like fun, cheeky kind of way that we normally do on my channel. More in the Mimi from Drew Carey kind of way. Not really a good look. So I decided that the best way to do this would be to do a two-part series where I show you a warm version of a red lip and a, gray smoky eye, and then also show you a cool tone version. I decided to start this out with the cool tone look because I feel like it's the most classic and it's also the one that is probably the easiest to kind of fudge up a little bit. When you're selecting your gray eyeshadows, you want to make sure you select ones that aren't too blue based. In fact, most of the gray and black shadow that I use are pretty neutral. I only use one that has kind of a blue base, but because it's brothers and sisters were a little more neutral, it's easier to carry off. And then my lipstick that I chose, I also didn't go for a super blue base or pinky red. I went for like a really true red with a slight blue base that wasn't like screaming loud blue based. This is a red lipstick that can be carried off by many different skin tones. I've seen it done, I've done it myself on other people, so I definitely can play the field a little bit. And then in the next video, I'm going to use a orange base red lipstick with more of like a silvery brown kind of look. And you're going to be able to see the contrast and see why the two different looks work within their own worlds. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you're entertained by it. I hope you learned something. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I want to start this out by applying a eyeshadow base, but I want to use one that has a little bit of a color to it, so I'm using Painterly Paint Pot. I just find that using a base that has a little bit of almost like a concealer type quality to it really helps to even out the skin tone of the eyelid, and that's especially important when you're doing this kind of like smoky eye where you don't really necessarily want little freckles and things like that showing. And I just like it, and I'm applying this obviously with a brush, which you can see, so I don't need to really explain that. Alright, the next thing I want to do is really map out my crease, so I'm going to use a dark, almost black, but not quite there, eyeshadow. This is MAC's Typographic. I just bought this and I'm kind of having an obsession with gray, in case you couldn't tell by the two gray eyeshadow videos planned in the same week. But anyway, I'm applying that with a pencil brush. What I'm going to do is use the C technique. So you kind of start out here in your outer corner and you make a little C for yourself, like so. And then I want to blend that out a little bit, so I'm going to use a MAC 217, and I'm holding that at the end so I'm not applying a lot of pressure, and just soften the edge. I don't really want to take it up really high. Just make it nice and soft. Now I'm actually going to do my highlight right now, because we're really going to leave the upper half of the eyelid alone as much as we possibly can after this. And I'm just using a flat brush and MAC's Brulee eyeshadow. Just a nice neutral highlight shade. And I just apply that right under my eyebrow and then sort of have it come down to meet the gray. Now we're going to start working on the lid eyeshadow, so I'm going to take a NYX Jumbo pencil, and the color of this is Pots and Pans. It's a slightly blue tinted silver. It's not like blue, but if you were to put it next to something that was a little bit more warm, you would see the blue tones pop out a little bit more. So I'm placing that all over the lid, and then I'm going to take the brush that we use with Painterly on the other side and just gently blend it out. We don't need lots and lots of it. We don't need it to be really pigmented. I just find that loose eyeshadows tend to work better with a sticky base. Speaking of which, what we're going to use today is Sugar Pills Tiara. It's a nice clean glittery silver. And to apply that, I'm going to use a flat brush and just start patting it until it, do you see how insane that is? It's wicked awesome. I love it. So just pat that on the ball of the lid in that little lid that you created for yourself if you kind of cut your crease like I did. But really just kind of keep it on the inner half. Alright, so now we're going to fill out this last little portion. We're going to use a MAC 239, and this is Night Divine eyeshadow. It's a dark smoky gray, but it has a ever so slightly blue base to it. So it really works better with these cooler gray smoky eye look things. I especially like this color on people who have brown eyes because it has just enough blue in it to really make your eyes pop. And then you're going to slightly blend that over the typographic so it just kind of, or typographic, is it? Yeah, typographic. Anyway, in my head I feel like I'm saying it wrong. So our outer edge here is getting a little sharper than I'd like it to be, so I'm going to use the new MAC 286 brush to blend out the edge. This is a duo fiber brush and it's just so soft, and the blending with this is amazing. And then just to add a teensy bit of depth to this lower lid in the outer corner, I'm going to take some Carbon eyeshadow, which is just a matte black. You can use whatever, it doesn't really matter. And just place that right there. Blend a little side to side with the small brush. And then just take a 217 and just blend that. Alright guys, now I just want to add a line of black on my upper lash line just to kind of round it out, make it a little bit more complete. I'm going to use the MAC 211 brush. This is sort of like a pointed but flat liner brush. It's sort of interesting. I'm starting that right there on my inner corner. Oh, and the type of liner I'm using is cake liner. It's nice and watery, and it's water based, so if you make a mistake it's easy to just kind of clean it up. And go over it with a little bit of the Night Divine. That way it doesn't stand out as a black line, but just having it there makes your lashes look a little bit thicker. Okay guys, so I already applied like my foundation and my contour and filled in my brows and that kind of sort of boring stuff. So sorry, I just kind of skipped that over just to cut down time on the video. Now I'm taking a pair of false lashes. This is just a pair that I like. They're actually MAC 33s, but I like to cut them in half so that they're just like outer edge lashes. So, you know, it really doesn't matter what type of lash, as long as it's kind of wispy or whatever, it'll look somewhat similar to what I have. And then I'm going to take that just right there in the outer corner. Always start it from the outer corner and then sort of bring it in. And then I'm going to take the end of a brush and just kind of press them. And then I just apply mascara over both my natural lashes and the false lashes, making sure that the lashes on the center part of my eye kind of go in towards my nose. It gives it a more rounded look. And then also, because we applied the false lashes on just the outer half, it doesn't have that look where it's like bang, false lashes, bang, no false lashes. It just kind of has a nice graduation to them. Alright, now when it comes to selecting a red lipstick to go with a cooler gray and silver smoky eye like this, it can be a little bit tricky because you don't want it to play off it too much and then turn this sort of a bluish tone, which can happen really easily. So one of the best ways to kind of figure out which lipstick will work is to actually do little swatcherinos for yourself on your fingers, because your fingers are closest in texture to your lips, and then you can actually like hold them up and decide which one you want to use. I think I'm going to use Russian Red. Yeah, I feel like that one looks the best. The others are just a little bit too on the blue base or too bright, and it just ends up looking a little bit like a whore. Alrighty, so what I want to do is put on some of MAC's Prep and Prime Lip to start to moisturize my lips and get them ready for the lipstick. Exciting, I know. While that is setting up, I'm going to go ahead and do my blush. I'm using Wet n Wild's Heather Silk blush, just right here on my cheek. I mean, where else would you put it? And this is a MAC 10, or no, it's a 138 brush. This blush is a pink with a slightly blue base, but it's not like screaming loud blue, so it works really well. Alright guys, I'm going to apply Russian Red with my favorite lip brush, which is actually an eye brush. This is the MAC 228. Just depositing a large chunk of color on the center lip, but I'm going to start actually mapping it out here on the top. Start dragging that down. Obviously I'm filling it in now. I think for fairly obvious reasons I couldn't talk during the application of that. So here we have our complete look. This is a cool toned gray smoky eye with a red lip that is blue based. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I had a great time making it for you. And until next time, remember to be vintage or tacky. Just be yourself. Bye.